Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the August 24th, 2020 Board of Works meeting. Our first order on the agenda will be Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is roll call. Madam Clerk, would you call roll?
Mayor Gentry,
Absent.
Becky McClure,
Present.
Bill Stoner,
Present.
Dick Robertson,
Present.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Next order is approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? If so, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, minutes are approved. Next item will be the department head reports. First up will be Police Department.
Yeah, they're at that accident.
They're at the accident, okay.
Same with fire.
Fire too? Okay, John, you're at.
Parks Department, all right.
All right, buddy.
Save the best for first, there you go.
Yeah,
Our pool season's wrapping up weekdays. We're all finished with weekdays now, so we're starting weekends only. Our last day will be Labor Day, September 7th. We've still seen large crowds at the pool this season, and our staff's done a great job. Want to thank them and following all the CDC Health Department guidelines. The splash pad is also very popular again this year, and the closing date on that will be announced at a later time. We'll keep it open as long as we can, as long as this weather's coming. I think it's supposed to get in the 90s again, so it'll be very popular, I'm sure. Our Daddy-Daughter Dance is set to be this Saturday, August 29th, on the pool deck. The theme is still Frozen, and there will be special appearances by Elsa and Olaf. The dance is from 6 o'clock to 9 p.m., and tickets are currently on sale in the office and will be sold at the door. We hope to see everybody there. Let's see, Dennis Sheff with the Boone County Detention Alternative Initiative will be hosting a 5K in Memorial Park to help teachers in the Lebanon school system pay for their classroom supplies. This will be held on Saturday, October 31st at 8 a.m. More details on the run will be given at a later time. The basketball goals of Abner Longley have been installed. Now we're going to put backboards up probably Tuesday, so they should be ready to go Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest with new goals, rims, and really much needed. And they'll be 10-foot goals now instead of the 8-footers that they were having to play on. I think they're pretty excited, kids down there, and they've left everything alone, and it's set very well, so we're good for that. I want to give a shout out to retired Fire Chief Ted Caldwell. Ted has been opening and closing the conservation pond there gate for the summer, so residents can fish 7 days a week from 8 to 8. It's been very popular, and Ted lives down there, and he's keeping an eye on it and keeping me informed on it daily too. But he just does a great job. He did a great job for the city, and I can't thank Ted enough for all his help. And I'm telling you, it's a very popular item is fishing right now. So you can social distance and all that, and it's really nice. I want to thank Chief Caldwell, though, for that. He's done a great job. Appreciate it.
okay, great. Is that all you?
That's all I had.
Anything from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, next up will be Engineering Department.
Good evening, board members. Engineering Department report for August 24th. A few updates on projects. Downtown really is at a hold at this point. We've got a few things left to wrap up. We're doing some sidewalk work in front of Pythias Hall in early October, where we'll put an epoxy coating on that sidewalk. A few miscellaneous things still wrapping up, mostly with warranty repairs, but essentially done there. We've also processed our final pay application and only are waiting on one more pay application, which would be our retainage release, and that will wrap up the downtown contracts. Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2, really no updates there other than, we will be out there working this fall, or the contractors will be, doing some final reseeding, and then we'll do our final inspections and close out that job. And then jumping to our miscellaneous community crossing pavement resurfacing projects throughout the year. All that work is complete, and we are in the process of processing our final pay applications on that job. On that note, the State Road 32 resurfacing that's being done by NDOT and their contractor, Calumet Civil Contractors, they're nearing the completion of that, as you can probably tell. Good thing, too, today with all the traffic that was diverted through town because of the I-65 accident. Basically, we're down to a couple of approaches that need to be surfaced on the side streets, and then the striping. Striping is scheduled to start this week and be wrapped up by the end of next week. And then they anticipate completing the full project sometime around mid-September. So nearing completion there, and it's nice to have that fully open once again. Sidewalk replacement programs, just to give you an update on where we're at on the active living cost share programs. We've had 11 fully completed applications. As of today, we have 3 that are still pending. About $10,000 remains in the original $60,000 budgeted for the cost share program. So I think it's important to note that $60,000 is leveraged with matching dollars from the residents to perform about $120,000 worth of work, and we're nearing the end of the money on that project. Other things on sidewalk related notes, Lafayette Avenue, Witt Road, Riley Road, we're moving forward with some right-of-way acquisitions and title work for those acquisitions. It should be wrapped up hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and we anticipate starting construction on some sidewalks along Lafayette Avenue, really connecting the sidewalks that go up to Camp Street, all the way north, crossing Riley Road and connecting to the existing sidewalks in the Claire Vista neighborhood. So really that will connect Claire Vista all the way down to Camp Street and get those kids with a safer way to walk to Harney Elementary.
Are we going to do that this year?
Yes,
Okay.
I anticipate we'll start construction sometime mid-September.
All right.
We've just ordered title work so that we can close on those right-of-way acquisition issues and final survey work. So I'd say give us 2 weeks to wrap all those things up, and we're really going to focus on that specific section because we've got willing sellers there, and the title issues are much cleaner. As we get north onto Witt Road, we get to some complicated title issues and some setback problems with those lots that might take a little bit longer for us to resolve. But we know we can get those walks along Lafayette Avenue done this fall. Let's see, a couple of quick updates on the Big Four Trail. We're still working with our consultants on the pavement assessment and looking at some of the pavement failures we've had there. I also want to point out that through our active living program, we're also investigating traffic counters that will count both pedestrians and cyclists on the trail. So Derek Warren is working on that with John Messenger, hopefully trying to get some traffic counters purchased, and we can better assess how people are using the trails. Grant Street, the William Street Storm Sewer Outlet is now complete. We've got some issues with some pavement damage and some seeding that still needs to be taken care of. I promise you we're working on that with the contractors and going to make sure those issues are taken care of. We're still on track as a part of the larger project, which is the Grant Street reconstruction for 2023 construction. And in that same area of town, we're looking at Fordyce Street. We've kicked off our engineering work on the design of Fordyce that will also include a pedestrian and cycling trail from East Street all the way out to John Bart. That work is now under design officially, and we are anticipating a construction start of early spring 2022. It doesn't sound that far away, but we got a lot of work to do to get all that right-of-way acquired and those plans ready to go, and be ready to go in the spring of year after next. The bike park, not a whole lot of updates. We've been we've been working really hard with NICA over the past couple of weeks. That agreement is now in place so that we're partnering with NICA in the development of that park. We're meeting with NICA weekly to refine our design, and I feel confident we're probably about a week away from having our concept plan finalized. We're also working through drainage design concepts with the county, as the county will be responsible for drainage review and planning review for that matter on that project as that moves forward. A regional detention system, our upper pond, or the pond that will go somewhere in the vicinity of 39 and 65. We've completed some preliminary analysis there. Probably the biggest recommendation from our consultants is to look at the CSX railroad crossing, the pipe that goes under CSX, which was somewhat controversial the last couple of years because it had a failure, and we struggled a lot with CSX to get that done. But we think this is the time now to go ahead and file plans with CSX to lower and increase the capacity of that pinch point so that we can get that done sometime in the next couple of years as development begins to move forward in that area of town. It's important because if we actually upgrade that crossing, it will lower the 100-year of our detention system by about 3 feet and just create a much more feasible system there that won't require significant filling on those lots as they begin to develop that property around the regional pond. So we're moving forward with that analysis and that permitting. On the middle pond, which is the pond closest to the Ken's Foods development, we're working with developers that are looking at properties immediately adjacent to that. We're hoping that we'll have some good announcements on those developers in the next couple of days that will facilitate the build out of that middle pond. And there's really no update at this point on the lower pond, which will be somewhere north of 32. Again, that'll probably be more led by development in that area as that moves forward. Sunbrook Villas, happy to report that the Villas has now had their pre-construction meeting and is moving earthwork on that site. Still expecting phase 2 resubmittals sometime in the next few days, and they do anticipate to begin that earthwork construction as soon as the villa is done. And according to the developer, they want to pave both projects before the end of the year. So it's an aggressive timeline. We'll see if they're able to live up to it. Excuse me. And last but certainly not least, our job opening for our MS4 and utility infrastructure inspector. We've had our interviews and down to a final candidate that hopefully will be making a job offer this week, and hopefully have something good to report at the next meeting. That's all I have.
Is that Sunnybrook, is that going to be villas on the north side of?
Correct. So Sunbrook is south of 250,
Right.
east of Witt Road. Sunbrook Villas, which is a single-family, more empty nester focused product, although not age restricted. But it's a full maintenance neighborhood, so
Okay.
everything on the outside of the home is maintained by the owners association. That is what the villas are, and that's what they're under construction on as we speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kevin, hey, I got a question, Bill. Kevin, where are we at on the road impact fees study? How are we getting?
You know, the consultants, I met with them week before last. They're still moving forward with the design. At this point, we just need to form our committee so that we can start having those steering committee meetings and keep that on track for activating that ordinance sometime in the spring of next year.
Okay.
So, still on track, but we definitely are getting close to needing that committee established.
Okay.
Any other question from the board? Any question from the public? Okay, thanks, Kevin. Next up is the planning department. Ben?
Good evening, board members. Here's a planning report for this evening. Continue to remain very busy in the building part of the planning office. Another 64 building inspections the last couple of weeks. Again, we're still averaging 6 to 7 inspections a day, which is a very full schedule. I even heard one day we're doing, I think it was 12 inspections, just trying to get caught up. On that note, we do have a second building inspector who will be starting next Monday, so we'll be able to spread that out over 2 people and get a few more things done in a more timely fashion. That second building inspector will also be helping on slow days with the code enforcement, so that'll be a good thing for us. We got him starting next week. In terms of permits, again, the new residential is still very strong. Ironically, this time it seems like the timing is interesting. We had a lot of new permits coming over the last couple of weeks, and now all of the plumbing and electrical permits coming for those same houses in the last 2 weeks. You see a lot of those. It's kind of interesting to see how that cycles through. On code enforcement, again, we had Matt Reynolds start a week ago in our new code enforcement position. You'll see that reflected in the numbers that are before you this time. Just about every category that we could track, it's probably about double the number of inspections and follow-up, because we're really starting to get out there and be more proactive about those code enforcement cases and getting those corrected and addressed. In terms of new projects, I know Kevin's mentioned a couple of them, they're getting ready to go to construction. We've got a couple of them that are going through the planning approval process right now. I know a lot of you have heard about the Brakeman Building project on South Lebanon Street that's on the former Estes property. We're in the middle of getting the project agreement executed by all of the responsible parties. It has been approved by the Redevelopment Commission at their meeting a couple weeks ago. The CDC will be meeting on Wednesday night of this week to address that as well. And at that point, then it's ready for the mayor to sign and for the developer to sign and fully execute. At that point then, you'll see probably the planning department executing a contract to demolish the building, and then hopefully the project starting after October 1st. So we're really excited to see that one move forward. That's been a couple years in the making, so pretty exciting to see that. On a residential side, there's a new development that's been proposed on East Washington Street. Excuse me. Cedar Ridge is being proposed by Fisher Homes. Neighborhood out there that's getting ready to start the planning approval process as we speak. They'll be in the Planning Commission in September, so another exciting project's coming our way. That's all I have.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Yep. Thank you, Ben. Next up is Street Department Stormwater, David Neville.
How's it going? Let's see, we've been out pretty busy mowing easements, properties in the code violation for Makeda and them. The sweeper will be out this week. I plan on having it out 3 days this week with our part-time guy. That's his job now, so we're on a pretty good schedule with the sweeper now. We are going to try to get out and do some of these potholes in our alleys that we don't see a lot, but we're getting pretty hit hard on our alleys. Some of our alleys are pretty rough. Wrapping up a storm drain repair on William Street by the school, trying to get that wrapped up. We got a triangle asphalt coming in to do the surface part of it. Once we get our part done, that way it just all smooths together and looks better than we can do. Clean off some debris off catch basins like usual, still putting up our street signs. You might have been seeing around all the schools, we've been putting down the new crosswalks, using the tape instead of the paint, so you know it's handicap, a lot more friendly for the sticks and stuff. But yeah, that looks a lot better. We've had a lot of compliments on that, you know, getting the kids safe across all of our streets as best we can. So we kind of took a break from the hydrant and curb painting to get the schools done up, but now we're going back to the hydrant and curb painting. Getting a pretty good dent in that, making real good progress. Let's see, brush week this month was more than last month. It's pretty busy. Now we picked up 51,900 pounds of chips. That's chipped up, so that's not. But it was up 15,140 from July. So it seemed like it was less, but it wasn't. They just put it in piles for us. They were prepared. So we're starting to get that process rolling a lot better. Just a reminder to the residents, September is the last brush pickup for the year or for the season, unless storms or something like that happens. But it's going to be September 8th through the 11th. So that'll wrap that up for the season. We did talk to Dick and then I showed him some of we did get back a few designs for the building we're working on for the street department, so that's going well. We just got to do a meeting with them and still talk that through, and we're like Kevin and the mayor said, we're in a very beginning process of that. Nothing, we're just trying to get it rolling, keep it going. Did want to remind everybody about fall cleanup. I know it's in October, but we try to get it out there, so they know. It will be, let's see, this year it's Friday, October 2nd and Saturday, October 3rd. 7 to 4 both days, rain or shine, don't matter. We don't cancel it. Like usual, they're not taking electronics, no televisions, no paint, no chemicals, I guess I should say. Now, they'll take latex paint if it's dried out, but not the wet paint. And just normal household items. Like I said, no hazardous, no waste materials. We will not accept brush or tires or oil-based paint during this time. Drywall or roofing materials they will not accept, and but we do take refrigerators, air conditioners. We get a lot of freezers, washer and dryers. We get a lot of confusion on that, but we take all that. Or
What's the dates on that again?
Breeze takes it.
Dave?
That is October 2nd and October the 3rd, Friday and Saturday.
Yep. When you schedule to get your new chipper equipment?
No chipper equipment.
I mean, the,
Oh, you mean the leaf machines?
right.
Yeah, they're supposed to be in September. They sent us a confirmation email. We should have those in September, and in about 3 weeks, we should have our new backhoe in as well.
Okay, good.
So everything's on schedule for that. We just want to get them before leaf season, so as long as they come in. Once again, thank John and them. They loaned us their chipper again. We're going to have to definitely look into getting a second chipper probably if we're going to do our like this, which is probably a good thing because we did have a winter ice storm. We booked up, John and them will be booked up, and we probably still wouldn't have enough equipment.
Okay.
So it's just something we're looking into. Obviously, this year we're kind of spent on our equipment, so we're trying to carry some stuff over to next budget. So that's all I got.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Thank you, David.
Hey, thank you.
Next up is communications, Joe LePage.
Mr. Stoner, just so you know, Tony Bales is here with LPD if
I see
you
him.
want to report right on.
Yeah, as soon as you get done, we'll get him up there.
Super, just pass that along. Want to make sure everyone's calendars are marked for September 20th, that's a Sunday. Boone County Summerfest got backed up thanks to the coronavirus, but it is still going on, still will happen on that on the 20th on that Sunday. It is downtown, it'll feature 2 stages, live music, bands, food and beverage, social distancing as well. Safety measures will be taken. It starts a little after noon on that Sunday and then lasts until about 10 o'clock. A lot of fun bands, a wide range of genres will be covered. Again, September 20th, completely free to the public to attend, minus any of the food and beverage that you do purchase. Speaking of food and beverages for purchase, the last regular city market, Lebanon City Market of the season, is tomorrow, Tuesday from 5 p.m. until 8. Pretty eventful, great vendors. We've had great weather this year, knock on wood, for tomorrow. Food truck from JC Cocina has been delicious, and so I recommend heading down there 5 to 8 o'clock for Lebanon City Market. Brief mural update. Materials have been purchased for the Lebanon Youth Council mural, partnering with local artist Scott Trafford, and with the help of grant funding to help pay for that, and the Boone EDC help writing that grant. That mural will be placed along the Big 4 Trail near the former Prairie Industries building. So it's one of the murals we're going to partner with CSX on. And so preparation of that space will take place soon. And then, like I said, the materials are on order, and Scotty will be able to incorporate some of the youth council members to be able to work on that mural that they plan and put together. And so looking forward to adding even more an injection of color along our Big 4 Trail. And so that's a positive thing there. And then many more murals to come later on this year and then beginning next year as well. Also in October, Lebanon will be featured in Indianapolis Monthly. It's their hometown series, or hometown stories content rather. This article focuses on many of the great things that make Lebanon great. It's not going to focus on any one event or any particular thing individually, but more so kind of a smattering collection of the great things that make Lebanon great. The copy has been submitted. We're waiting on the design and layout of that article. We will approve it before it will be printed off in the magazines. You may have seen earlier in the year, the city was also featured in Travel In magazine, their Adventure 2020 edition. That was highlighting the Big 4 Trail and added amenity for our city. Speaking of magazines, as I wrap up here, big thanks to our Parks Department for its assembly, and then Casey Sampson for the picture. But Temple Light Display, where we get all of our different things that are, We hang those up, the lighting around the courthouse and the trees that we had done when they existed around the courthouse. We purchased an artificial 26-foot tree, and so we submitted some pictures to the Temple Light Display, and so they went ahead and featured Lebanon, Indiana on the front and the back side of that magazine with the tree that we purchased, and so some pretty good publicity for our city. This is a national publication. They do work throughout the country, and so Lebanon, Indiana is featured, and so we appreciate the coverage and hope folks are proud of the things that are happening in our city that are beginning to get recognized. So we're pretty proud of that and look forward to more of those things moving forward.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Thank you, Joe. Police Department, Tony, would you like to come up?
Good evening. I apologize for my tardiness, but we've got our hands full with traffic and whatnot, so. But good news, they said they're getting ready to open northbound, so.
That's good.
That should alleviate some problems here in town. Lebanon Police responded to 600 calls for service. We had a total arrests were 12, 5 wanted on a warrant, 3 were for operating while intoxicated, 2 for domestic battery, and 2 for possession of methamphetamine. A total of 21 handgun permits were submitted to ISP. Last week, we were able to send officers Kuntz, McCloskey, Griffin, and Robertson. They attended a week-long standardized field sobriety instructor school. So we were able to add 4 more field sobriety instructors to our department, and they're able now to instruct our officers in OWI investigations, and also we like to provide quarterly training for our guys just to stay fresh. So that was a big addition for those instructors. Today, the 24th, we conducted firearms training at our range, and we were concentrating on movement drills with our rifles. Our newest officer, Thomas Denning, started with our department today. He will first be completing a 40-hour pre-basic course, and then he'll start his field training. We were able to get him into the academy in November, so he'll start the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy on November 9th, and will be scheduled to graduate February 19th. Chief Morgan and I spoke last week. He plans a swearing-in ceremony for Officer Denning at a later date. We continue to work on implementing our new policies through Lexipol. I know we've been talking about this for quite some time and getting weekly updates, but we've gone through about 100 policies so far, with still about another 50 to 60 to go. So it's a pretty lengthy process, tedious process. We're trying to knock out anywhere from 8 to 10 a week, so we've been going at it for quite some time. So we hope to start rolling those out to our officers within the next 2 months is our goal, sometime mid-October. So.
Is that a complete review of all your policies?
Yeah, so we redid all of our policies. When we signed the contract with Lexipol, that was done a while back before I was in my position. And then they uploaded our old policies, and now I've updated into the new policies, and it's a good thing for us, but it's just a long process. So, and lastly, we'd like to thank Joe LePage. He came in last week and sat down and met with our public information officers and shared some tips and ideas when it comes to social media and press releases. Our goal with the department is to become more active in social media. We've actually added an additional 4 officers that were interested in a PIO, or a public information officer role. So they've kind of started that role under Sergeant Fuston, and Joe was kind enough to come in and meet with them for a while, and then they're gonna get some training here in the next couple months too when it comes to dealing with the public and social media and things of that nature. So that's all I have.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Good. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
All right, that completes our department head reports. Next item is old business. Do we have any old business before the board? Okay, then we'll move on to new business. First item is Kevin with the change order on William Street storm sewer.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I mentioned in my department head report, we've wrapped up the storm sewer outlet project on William Street, which is really phase 1A for our Grant Street project. getting the storm sewer out of the way for what we thought would be an imminent bridge project this year that unfortunately was delayed. But I know that bridge project is still a high priority for the county, as that bridge was recently rated for performance and found to be underperforming. So I know the schools had to adjust bus routes, and they're trying to get that back on their schedule in the short term. So this project was to get the storm sewer out of the way so they could facilitate the bridge project, and eventually this will facilitate the Grant Street project. This is change order number 1, also the last change order, also the final change order, just closing out the job. If you reviewed it, there are 14 line items on there. The item numbers refer to the numbers associated with our unit price contract. I'll go through these quickly, but the total is for $17,740.72. Primarily, I'll get into the details, but primarily this is for additional sidewalk work and additional storm sewer work that was required as we got into the project. So, first item on the list, item number 5, is the reduction of $700 for the stormwater management budget. Basically, this was an undistributed line item to maintain stormwater control, and so this is the money that the contractor did not use. Item number 7, concrete sidewalk. As I said, we had some additional sidewalk, primarily because we had 2 additional storm sewer structures that we had to replace. We were planning to tie those into our proposed storm sewer, but the pipes that were coming out of the structures were so bad, in bad shape. They were old steel pipes. They were completely rusted through. There was just no steel left to tie onto. So we felt the need while we were there to go ahead and replace those pipes and replace those structures. So with that also required some sidewalk replacement. And then the other thing, not knowing when the bridge project is going to happen, the bridge project would have also eliminated some trip hazards going onto and leaving the bridge for pedestrians. But in the interest of eliminating those trip hazards before school started, we went ahead and took care of those sidewalk adjustments on all 4 corners of the bridge. So that's why there was some additional sidewalk work. Item number 8, combined curb and gutter. Again, there's an additional 50 feet of curb and gutter that was required because of the additional curb inlet structures that had to be replaced. That's for $1,750. Item number 9, curb ramps. Again, some adjustments on curb ramp locations that required additional 6.7 square yards of concrete, totaling $1,005. Item number 10, detectable warning strips. Again, this is for associated with the adjustments of the curb ramps. There was actually 0.2 less square yards than what was bid, for a savings of $30. Item number 11, structural backfill. Again, this is because of the additional storm work, 17.47 cubic yards of additional structural backfill for $917.18. Item number 12, HMA for patching. So that's hot mix asphalt, what HMA stands for. And we actually were able to keep those trenches a little tighter than what we had proposed, and ended up saving about 12.6 tons for a negative line in this change order of $1,083.06. Item 13 was also a negative change order for riprap. We had less riprap than what was originally budgeted, 17 tons of riprap less, amounting to a negative change order of $1,108.90. Item 14, geotextile for the riprap. Obviously less riprap, less geotextile to go underneath it. 81 square yards to be specific, for a negative change order of $486. 36-inch pipe. We had 3 foot less 36-inch pipe than what we anticipated. This is primarily due to structure placement adjustments, resulting in a negative change order of $810. Here's where the additional pipe came in. So we had 17 feet of additional 12-inch pipe. This is line 16, 17 additional feet for a total of $1,700. And then item 20 and 21 are the 2 additional storm sewer structures that we had to install. Item 20 was for $3,845. Item 21, $3,195. And last but certainly not least, there was an additional amount of number 8 stone that was required, and that was for $2,082. Again, total for change order number 1, closing out the job for JR Bowling, is $17,740.72. That's 17740.72. We would just like your consideration, and if you would so choose, approving this change order, authorize me as a city engineer to execute that change order.
Any questions from the board? Okay, at this time, then I'd entertain a motion to approve change order number 1 for the Lebanon Williams Street Storm Sewer for $17,740.72.
I'll make a motion, we approve change order number 1, in the increase amount of $17,740.72.
Have a motion to have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. It's change order number 1 is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item up, Kevin, is, you're still up.
Yep. Next item is right along with this. As we said, we're complete with the job, so I'm just asking for your authorization to issue a substantial completion notice on the contract. Again, I would ask that you authorize me to sign and execute on behalf of the city.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay, at this time, I'd make a motion to approve Kevin's request and authorize him to sign the agreement for the Williams Street Storm project, sewer project.
I'll make that motion, so moved.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. It's approved. Next item up is still Kevin for the stop sign installation approval.
Yes. So this is a request for the Board of Works to authorize us to install new stop signs. Again, this would be subject to council approval of draft ordinance 2020-08. This is for 3 specific locations. One is Lafayette Avenue and West Main Street. This was part of the downtown project, part of the Big 4 Trail and downtown revitalization project. But some questions were raised of whether or not the council and Board of Works approval for that project really authorized the installation of a stop sign. So now the intersection of Lafayette Avenue and West Main Street is a 3-way stop, but our stop sign ordinances are all listed in Chapter 76 of our unified code, and this is not on that list. So again, although it was somewhat approved by Board of Works and City Council at one point, it doesn't have the backing of ordinances, and so therefore would be difficult for our police officers to write citations on that. So we want to clear that up and add that intersection. So Lafayette Avenue and West Main Street to become a 3-way stop. And then the next 2 are really our new stop signs. Both are in the Elm Swamp Road area of town, so the east side of town, east of Eulin. We would like to turn the intersection of Elm Swamp Road and Elizaville Road into a 3-way stop. This is primarily to try to slow traffic down on Elm Swamp Road, and we also want to clean up some geometry, particularly of the Elizaville Road intersection. So we will be not changing any pavement, but we will be striping the pavement differently to really square up that intersection of Elizaville Road and hopefully slow traffic down. We'll also be upgrading the ADA crossings and shortening the ADA crossing going northbound along the east side of Elm Swamp. So Elm Swamp and Elizaville Road will become a 3-way stop, subject to the approval of this ordinance. And then last but not least, the next intersection is just north of there, Elm Swamp and Gulfside. So that's really the next intersection north before you get to Anderson Lane. We would like to turn that intersection into a three-way stop as well. Again, installing stop signs, installing stop bars, installing crosswalks that meet ADA guidelines. But we would like your endorsement on adding a three-way stop at that location as well. And then one thing we were proposing is that in the future, we would like to be in a situation where the ordinance can be revised as deemed warranted by the city engineer, subject to Board of Works approval, so that every time we want to put up a stop sign, we don't have to come back and redo this traffic schedule every time. So again, for tonight, we're asking for your blessing for these three intersections to be made three-way stop control, again, subject to the City Council's approval of Ordinance 2020-08.
I think these are needed, especially the one next to Elm Swamp Road and Gulfside, I think is definitely needed.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree that those are two excellent suggestions. That the Lizatville Road thing, there's every day it's a near miss down there in terms of that northbound traffic that doesn't stop. So I think they're very, very, very good suggestions.
Any other questions from the board?
I'm okay with the avenue. I understand why we have to do that one. The Elm Swamp Road and Elizabeth Road is not too bad issue. But the Gulfside and Elm Swamp Road, I really don't see the real need. Have you done any traffic counts? You got a traffic study on any of these?
No, I was going to tell you that. We tried to do a traffic count for this, and our traffic counters are messing up. So we got the traffic counter IT on it and our IT people on it, and we couldn't get it resolved before now.
So we haven't done a traffic study to determine
But I
what
will
it's...
say, it's not so much the traffic, it's the speed and the safety for the kids. Because Derek ain't here, I could have brought him up. He is our ADA, I guess you would call him specialist or whatever, but if you go to Gulfside, we have an ADA ramp that crosses at a non-stop. So in order to do that legally, you have to have, I don't know what all you need, but we're kind of not up to code on that. When we went to look at ADA ramps, that's what brought that into play. So we're just, and I know you live there, and I mean, just us standing there with Derek cars, they're not doing 30 miles an hour, I promise you that. So this will work to me just like it does at Riley Road. It forces them to slow down on these long runs, and I know the one.
Well, first of all, you know that you don't use stop signs to control traffic speed.
No, but you do make stop signs to make people stop, and kids don't.
Well, I understand that, but you don't use stop signs to slow people down.
My concern is the kids. It's not so much as how many cars are driving down that street. I mean, we'll watch kids run and risk their life all the time, and I'd rather not have a child run over and just make a stop sign. If it inconveniences me to stop, so be it. But that's just my opinion. But the other one is that Kevin mentioned. We've had numerous complaints about that one, Lizatville, and trying to turn because it's one of our longest crosses for families and kids to cross, and it's pretty dangerous. So I know I've taken 3 calls on that one.
Since we got the sidewalk all the way down through, there's more people using the sidewalk.
And they're crossing over from Gulfside as well, and they're just kind of winging it.
I'd like to make that comment that the pedestrian traffic, there is no sidewalk on the west side, so you have to cross over at that intersection to pick up the sidewalk.
Yeah, it dead ends right there. There's no choice. I mean, there's a sidewalk. They can't go like down to Bill's house or nothing. They can't go any further. They have to cross.
Yeah.
I would offer to you that we are doing a speed study on the area. We will hopefully have that done in the next few days, once the traffic counters are functional again. Keep in mind, this will require an ordinance approval for enforcement purposes. So it would only be at first reading later this evening at the city council meeting. So we've got another 2 weeks, actually I think 3 weeks till the calendar falls before we're back for an approval of the second reading of that ordinance. If you would like, we can come back to you. We can table this issue for tonight. We can come back to you at your next meeting, which I think is September 14th, and give you the findings of our speed study and have you take that off the table and reconsider the issue.
Well, I think you're okay to move forward. I think just bring that to the next meeting.
I'll check with the police.
Before we have the second
I know
reading.
they've had their speed thing out there a lot.
You know,
So,
I honestly don't think a speed study is gonna do you any good because they're traveling faster than the speed limits currently that's out there now.
Yeah, and that's what all ours does. It
You know.
tells the speed and how many vehicles is what our
Yeah,
traffic can
yeah.
do. And then we would have had it, like I said, we just ran into some technical difficulties. They don't know if our computer system updated or something, but we're trying to figure it out, and then we'll get it. Because we did the actual counts, it just came up and said it was good, and it didn't show us anything.
Yeah,
So
that-
something's wrong.
Elm Swamp has a lot of traffic,
Yeah, it does. It does.
so,
Especially when school's in, it
right,
carries a lot.
and it is, I think it would be it's a safety issue, for sure. Okay, well, do we, pleasure of the board, do you want to move forward, or do you want to table?
Move forward. I'll make a motion that we approve these suggested stop sign locations, as well as giving the city engineer the authority to move ahead with others if he finds that's worthwhile. It'll be coming back to us a second reading, but to keep it going, I'll make that
No,
motion.
he'll have to come back to the city council for approval.
But,
They'll have to come back to the city council for the ordinance approval.
Yeah, but
Right.
when he deems any other stop signs, he'll have to come back for the city council to get approved on the ordinance.
They'll have to come back to the Board of Works
Yeah.
as well, I believe. Okay. Well, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Bill. So Alan, just to clarify, your motion subject to council approval?
Right. Yes.
Okay, so, okay. I have a motion, do I have a second? I need a second for this.
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, then we'll move on. The next item on the list is street closure request for downtown cruise.
Hello, Missy Krulik with the Heart of Lebanon. I'm here for our last courthouse cruise-in for 2020. So it is scheduled for September 11th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Again, this is hosted by Amanda and Keith Hockenberry. We're asking for street closure. It worked out this month, our street closures, so we're asking for the same type of setup of Meridian Street from Washington to South Street with the Main and Meridian intersection to remain open from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And what date is that, Missy?
September 11th. And then we, this month, we are having a monster truck join us. It's called Dysfunctional, and it's a cancer autism awareness monster truck. And so it comes on a hauler, and so we need to also have permission to park the hauler on Superior Street between State Road 39 and Meridian Street, just for the event.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, then I'd entertain a motion to allow for the street closure on September the 11th from 5:30 to 9 from Meridian Street, Washington Street
To South Street,
to South Street.
with
Okay.
Main and Meridian intersections staying open. Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the street closure.
I'll make a motion, we approve the street closure on September 11th from 6 to 8:30 p.m.
5:30 to 9.
5:30 to 9.
5:30 to 9.
on Meridian Street from Washington to South Street.
Okay.
Also to keep the intersection of Meridian and Main open and allow parking for a truck hauler on Superior Street between Park and, or East and Meridian, correct?
39.
39.
39, I'm sorry.
Meridian.
We have a motion to have a second.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Street closure is approved.
Thank you.
Next item is claims. Does everybody have a chance to review the claims? If so, I would entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Make a motion, we approve claims?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next item is, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Next meeting, or the city council will follow at 7:15. Our next Board of Works meeting is September the 14th at 5:30.